it's really dark in here because I'm like in the parking garage, but made it to Orlando, got to my rental car. Not gonna lie, Orlando is not my favorite airport to fly into just because it's like, it's where everybody comes in to do cruise ships or Disney World, so it's always jam-packed with a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of families, and it just sort of feels like crazy town every time I've flown in or out of here. But I have to drive from Orlando to Ocala, which I think is about 90 minutes. Just gonna stop at the grocery store on my way to the house where I'm staying this week. Alright, I just arrived at the place I'm staying this week. This kitchen is like weirdly enormous. I'm about to unpack all my groceries. I may have bought way too much stuff, but I do plan to basically make all of my meals here for the week. I think I can get through all of it. We'll see. It also seemed like half the grocery store was on sale, so it was sort of hard to go through there and not just like get everything, but I will show you what I got for the week. I got a bag of mandarins, some apples, got a spaghetti squash, a couple of lemons, 2 avocados, a purple sweet potato, some oatmeal packets, and some frozen berries to go with the oatmeal. I like to get frozen berries. For one, they just last a lot longer. Like, you just stick them in the freezer, they're not gonna go bad like fresh ones will. And because they're frozen right after they're picked when they're really fresh, like they seem to always be really good quality. Whereas I feel like, especially in the winter when stuff's being shipped from all over the world, like you sort of never know what you're gonna get with fresh fruit. So frozen can be very handy. Got some turkey slices and some chicken sausages, just easy protein options. Got this rice cauliflower blend, just as another like easy vegetable that I can cook and not have to prep too much. Got some pickles, some hot sauce, and this obviously I probably won't finish, but I can just bring it home with me. Got some tomato sauce and some olives. I figured I could make the spaghetti squash and the pasta sauce and then just add some kind of protein to it. Got some of these roasted seaweed snacks. I actually really like those. Big bag of carrots for the horses. Got some coconut water so I can make my electrolyte drink in the morning. Eggs, kombucha, and some kimchi. Good probiotics. I think that's basically it. Oh, I did also get a big case of water. So I got some spring water. It's in glass bottles. And this is something that I kind of started doing more recently when I travel, if I can, getting water in glass bottles, just because a lot of times the places I'm going, I don't really know where the tap water is coming from. I might not have access to filtered water. And water can be such a huge source of contamination. And knowing for me that I already have trouble with detoxification, I already have heavy metals. Just one way I know I can kind of avoid potential exposure to things I don't want to be ingesting. Also, to be honest, here I've tasted the tap water. It does not taste good, or I've tried to like make tea or coffee with it and it tastes really bad. So getting some kind of filtered water or getting some kind of spring water, one, it just makes me like psychologically feel better about what I'm drinking. I think it tastes better, and I do try to find things that are in glass if possible, not plastic, which is definitely not always feasible, and it's not always feasible to even get filtered water. But if I can, like here, the grocery store had a big case of spring water in glass bottles. I will try to do that when I'm on the road. All right, I gotta finish putting all the rest of this stuff away, finish getting a little bit unpacked and organized, and make some food. Good morning. It's a little before 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday morning. My next mission is to find the gym here. So this house that I'm renting this week is in like a big golf club community thing, and there is a fitness center that I have access to while I'm here. This place is really huge and sprawling, and I don't really know where anything is, but I do have a map, so going to head out and find the gym this morning, get a quick workout in, and then we'll be heading over to the horse show later this morning to ride. Workout is done. I think actually this fitness center might be close enough to the house that I'm staying in that I could walk there. I got a little lost when I was first driving here, so I'll have to test that out later today. That would be a nice way to get a little walk in the morning. So now I just got to run back to my place, get some food, get ready to head over to the horse show. Today is Tuesday, so it's basically schooling day, which basically just means it's practice day. Like, all of the show rings will be open. You can go in and ride around to let your horse get used to the area and everything. We'll just have a little practice day today and then be ready for the rest of the week. Okay, it's a little afternoon on Wednesday. I just finished riding, gonna head back to the house where I'm staying, get some food, get some work done, and then probably come back here later in the day and take my horse out for another walk. It's kind of the usual schedule at the horse show. Like I'll ride in the morning and then use the afternoon to do any work or like schedule any Zoom sessions with clients. And then at the end of the day or like early evening, come back to the barn and take my horse out for a little walk just to get him out of his stall and moving a little bit. And it's just a nice way to end the day. And I've already got my workout done this morning, so going to head back to the house, make some lunch, get some work done, and take advantage of this nice weather, come back to the barn a little bit later, and take Joseph out for a walk. And that's kind of the plan for the rest of the day. Good morning. It's early on Friday morning. It's a little bit after 6:30, and as you can see from my Oura Ring data, my sleep has been really good. My sleep and recovery scores have been quite good ever since I got here, and I do feel like I'm sleeping really well. However, I don't feel great during the day. Even when I wake up, I feel much more groggy. It's been a lot harder to get out of bed here. And I just feel really like sort of fatigued as I'm getting up and getting moving, which usually like once I'm up, I feel a little bit better. I have been still I get a little boost of energy if I go do a workout in the morning. That always helps. Then by the time I'm done riding, I feel very, very fatigued again. And then that kind of lasts throughout the afternoon, like just really crashing at night. So for one, this is why I can't only rely on the data. Like a lot of the times my Oura Ring will tell me I got great sleep or that my recovery is really good, and I like the way I feel just doesn't always match up with that. I do still really like having the data because if I were feeling this way and the data was showing that like my sleep wasn't great or my recovery score was off for some reason, I would really want to pay attention to that because I might be getting sick or might just like really be more run down than I think, might need more rest or to pay attention to my recovery more. But when I have these times where there's kind of a mismatch of like I'm getting really good sleep, all of the metrics that it's tracking for recovery say that I am doing really well, but I don't feel very good. That's always kind of interesting to me because like what is it exactly that is making me feel extra fatigued and groggy and just like really kind of icky throughout the day, despite the fact that all other metrics or things like sleep are doing really well. I will say this is one reason why I try to wait a little bit in the morning to check my Oura Ring score and not like look at it immediately, because I like to give myself an idea like how do I actually just feel based off my own subjective measurements instead of kind of letting the ring tell me how I'm feeling, impact how I'm feeling. I really do think that it can have kind of a psychological impact on like if you wake up and you're like, I had a great night's sleep and I feel awesome, and then you look at your data and it's like you had a shit night's sleep and you should feel terrible. You can start to feel worse because of that. It can also work in reverse, which sometimes can be good. Like I've had times where maybe I feel like, oh man, I must have just gotten the worst night's sleep. I feel really gross. And then it'll be like, you did awesome, and it tells you that you should feel great. And it will kind of give me like a little bit of a boost, like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as bad as I thought or whatever. But I think that's where it can be important to give yourself a chance to like actually feel how you really feel before just looking at the data or letting the data tell you how you quote unquote should be feeling. It could be too just kind of the impact of travel, like did switch time zones. It's only an hour difference, so I wouldn't think that that would take too long to catch up with that. But I did go from very cold winter to warm climate. Again, I would kind of expect that would help me feel better, but I do just think some of those shifts can be hard on my body, or just like harder for my body to maybe catch up to that. Maybe that's why I'm still lagging a little bit here. I'm not sure, but my camera battery is about to die and I need to get ready to go do a workout so that I can get that little boost of energy this morning. But I have some more thoughts about this later. It's a little later in the afternoon. I went and rode this morning. So this was kind of our last practice day before I will be competing tomorrow and Sunday. So the horse show has actually been going on since Wednesday, but there's like different classes and divisions and stuff that you can enter. And so the ones that I'm doing will go Saturday and Sunday. So we had a really good practice session this morning. Joseph, the horse that I am leasing, he actually got a massage and some chiropractic work yesterday, which he really enjoyed. And I think he feels much better after that. And yes, we do things like chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, lots of different treatments for the horses. They really are athletes, and the things we're asking them to do, like jumping over jumps, is not exactly natural for them. It's a lot of work. It's pretty hard on their bodies, so we do have to really pay attention to that recovery part, just like we do with humans or human athletes. And I always really enjoy like watching the chiropractic and the body workers do their thing on the horses and kind of see the response. You can visibly see the horses relaxing and giving all the signals of them releasing tension, and it's just really interesting, and it's fun to talk to the people that do this work. And you can really feel a difference when you're riding the horses afterwards and just how they feel physically. So hopefully we'll have a good weekend here. I think Joseph is feeling really good after all of that. He was great today, and that's a good sign heading into the weekend. But I also wanted to go back to what I was talking about earlier this morning and kind of not feeling great. And even though like my Oura Ring data showing everything is really good and my sleep is really good, I'm kind of wondering if it's like the effects of travel or changing time zones or coming into a really different climate and just kind of my body having to adjust to that. But one of the other things that like kind of stresses me out about travel, I mean, travel kind of stresses me out in general. For one, I'm really a homebody. Like I love being at home. I love being in my own environment, kind of setting up my environment in a way that really suits me and keeps me feeling relaxed and comfortable. So I do find it hard sometimes to kind of transition, especially to like be in a new space, to maybe be somewhere, if it's like a hotel room or an Airbnb, where I never really know what I'm getting into or what that vibe is gonna be like. That's why if I do find, like if it's a place I'm going over and over again and I find a good place to stay or somewhere that I'm really comfortable, that makes the travel a lot easier, just knowing where I'm going, knowing I'm gonna feel okay in that space, etc. But one of the things that's been a little bit difficult about traveling with all of my health stuff is kind of not knowing what sorts of environments I might be getting into, or like what are the potential triggers in a different environment. For example, last time I came here, or one of the other times that I came here a couple of months ago, I was staying at an Airbnb and I had to leave after like 2 days because there was like major air freshener use, and it was really, really triggering symptoms for me. Like the smell was just really overwhelming. My eyes were burning, my throat was burning. I felt like I just couldn't stay there. I had a headache. It just was really bad. Or like I was talking about when I got here and I had gotten a bunch of bottled water at the grocery store because I just don't know where the water is coming from, what contaminants it might have, and just knowing how sensitive my body is to that kind of stuff, to environmental pollutants or toxins that might be in the water, that might be in the air, all of these things that, like when I'm at home, I have a lot of control over that. I have air purifiers, I have a water purifying system. All of the products that I'm using, cleaning products or home care products, are all non-toxic. So I know that nothing is going into my environment that is going to be harmful or going to kind of affect my body or make it harder for my body to function on a day-to-day basis, to keep healing. But then I come into a new space where like, I don't know what they've been cleaning with. I don't know if there's been air fresheners. I don't know what the water source is. And like even here, I can smell the chlorine and the water, like the water smells really bad. Even just like brushing my teeth, it tastes really bad. My hair feels disgusting when I get out of the shower. I definitely wouldn't want to be drinking the water. I've been trying to have the windows open as much as possible just to get some fresh air. But sometimes I do wonder if potentially there are environmental triggers that maybe I'm not even noticing but are like affecting my body on a deeper level. Maybe that can be why sometimes I get more of a symptom flare up when I'm traveling. So like here, I'm sleeping really well. I'm controlling what I can control. Thankfully, my Oura Ring's not showing any like major problems, but I feel a lot more fatigued and just kind of lethargic. So sometimes I do find it a little bit stressful when I'm getting ready to travel or when I'm on the road if I'm not feeling great and kind of wondering like, am I setting myself back on this whole health journey? Like, is this unhelpful for my body? Am I exposing myself to things that my body is then going to have to deal with, or essentially just like putting more of a burden on my whole system? That being said, I try not to stress too much about it because I know that most of the time I am doing all the things or setting up my environment in a way to make it as easy as possible on my body. And it's kind of like the 80-20 rule. Like if I know that most of the time, 80% of the time, I've got all of that under control, that the times when I am traveling or I can't control that stuff, or I am maybe being more exposed to things that might be more difficult for my body to handle, that it's probably fine. And that's why I do things like trying to buy good sources of water and food and make sure that I'm getting in movement, getting in fresh air, doing my best with sleep, all of the things that are going to be kind of the foundation and like help myself as much as I can in case I am being a little more exposed. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, it does worry me a little bit sometimes when I'm in a new space and my symptoms really flare up, or I just feel especially yucky. I'm just not sure if that's, you know, just kind of a normal up and down. Is it just a result of traveling and being in a different place, or am I maybe being exposed to something that my body is struggling with? I guess that's just the reality of the situation right now. And for a long time, I kind of avoided doing a lot of these things just because it did stress me out to try to manage all that or try to think about all that, or wondering if I really was going to suffer the consequences from doing things where I couldn't really control my environment or control all of the factors that go into helping me feel a little bit better. But I've also realized kind of how small your world gets when you do that, and how much I end up kind of feeling like I'm missing out on real life, and that in the end, like, the benefits of being able to ride and do these things that I really enjoy and are really good for my nervous system, I do think that's going to outweigh any potential negatives in the long run. On a completely different note, this place that I'm staying this week, besides the sort of gross water, it's really great. I really feel comfortable here. It's a nice space. It's really close to the horse show, which is awesome. But you may have seen this if you follow me on Instagram. I posted this on my Instagram stories. The artwork in here is not my vibe. So all of the artwork is animals dressed as humans. I think it's kind of weird and maybe a little creepy. So this is just a small sampling of what is everywhere in this house. I'll show you more. We've got this one. What is this? We've got these two and this guy. But wait, there's more. I don't know. Thoughts on this? Animals dressed as humans? Yay or nay? Wouldn't be my first choice. All right, it's now Sunday morning. Today is the last day of the horse show. I just did a quick workout this morning, and I'm not going to show until a little later this afternoon, so I have some time. I'll go over, take Joseph out for a walk, maybe come back and pack up a little bit. I don't leave till tomorrow morning, but I do have to leave pretty early tomorrow because I have to drive back to Orlando, which is like an hour and a half away. So definitely want to start getting things organized today. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but this is actually my last show with Joseph. I've been leasing him for a year now, and originally it was actually just supposed to be like a short-term lease. I was just going to do a couple of months. I was looking for a horse to buy, but that process has proved to take a lot longer than expected. Still looking for a horse that would be more of like a long-term fit, something that I could move up on and ride for the next several years. And it's just been really hard to find the right one. So anyway, my lease, we just kept extending my lease, and now it's gone for a full year. The lease is up at the end of this month, or basically at the end of this week. So it's a little bit of a bittersweet day. It'll be my last show day with him. It's been such a great experience getting back into riding this past year and being able to do it really consistently and kind of get my confidence back and just kind of get back in the groove. So that's been really fun. It was just a perfect situation. But it's time to move on, and I actually have a little bit of a new horsey project thing that is going to be happening over the next couple of months as I'm continuing to look for a horse. I will explain that later, but for now I'm going to get ready to head over to the show, spend a little extra time with Joseph on our last day here, and then get ready to show later this afternoon.
5079 is now on course. This is High Maintenance and Megan Shaw.
Well, that's a wrap on this horse show weekend, and I guess for me on horse showing for at least the next little bit. I will be getting some riding in over the next few months. I do have a little project, like I mentioned, horsey project coming up, but we had a good weekend to end what really feels like an era. I guess it kind of was. It was a whole year. It was really fun, and Joseph will definitely hold a special place in my heart for sure. So it was good ending this weekend. I'm glad we had a good time and a good final day today. And now I've just got to finish packing. I did get started organizing packing a little bit earlier today, but it always feels like there's so much more to do than I expect at the end of a trip like this. I always just feel like it ends up taking more time and effort than I'm expecting, but just gonna finish packing up as much as I can tonight and then be ready to hit the road about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, drive back to Orlando and fly home. I'm gonna miss this weather though. It's gonna be very cold by the time I get home.